Hey everybody, Joe Venorni, Cherry of the Geek TV. We are here, San Diego Comic-Con 2024. It's Comic-Con week, the best week of the year. And right now we're at the Comic-Con Museum with Executive Director Rita Vandergaw. How exciting is this week?
It's wonderful. It's like Christmas and birthdays all rolled into one. It's wonderful to have Comic-Con, our parent company, and to have so many visitors here in the museum.
Now, what people might not know is if San Diego Comic-Con happens for 5 days every July, but the Comic-Con Museum is open all year round. People can come and experience, get a little taste of the comics arts and the popular arts. I suppose, though, that this week, in particular, during Comic-Con, you probably get a little bit more traffic than a normal.
We do. Plus, it's July. That's the busiest tourism month of the year for San Diego.
Well, for those that don't know, that might not be aware, kind of tell people what the mission of the Comic-Con Museum is, and kind of maybe get some examples of some past things that you've had here without going into the current exhibits. We'll talk about that in a second, but maybe some of the things that have happened here before.
Sure, and we share the mission of Comic-Con, and we celebrate the comics and popular arts. And, Comic-Con started wanting to preserve comics and to call attention to the art that the comics created. And so we do that genuinely in a very, very successful way because we actually showcase the original art, like the Betty Boop exhibit we have here. We have original art from the 1930s created by the creators, and we've done that with Stan Lee in the past with the collaborations that he worked with the various artists and writers, and we had just closed that exhibit and replaced it with this one. And again, we had original comic art, which is very rare and very treasured by many collectors in the world. And I think for people that don't know about comics, it's interesting to discover the art and the art form, because it starts sometimes it's just pencil and paper, and then to ink and paper, and then someone else colors it, and then it goes to live in a comic strip for a newspaper or in an animated movie. It takes on different lives, and then it's been, like in the instance of DC Comics and also Marvel, you've got these characters that now have these movies and films, and they're known worldwide.
So let's talk about some of the current exhibits that you have here. We're standing here at the Becoming Betty Boop exhibit. It's a brand new exhibit celebrating almost 100 years of Betty Boop. 1930 is when she was created. She's going to be almost 100 years old. Can you believe that? No. She looks good.
She looks fabulous.
What are some of the things that people will see here at the Betty Boop, Becoming Betty Boop?
So again, we wanted to show the history. So we always try to start with the history of the character, and this Becoming Betty Boop tells you kind of how she transitioned and went through the various periods. She actually only had a screen career of 1930 to 1939, and during that time she was the most popular and the first fully animated female character, and they produced over 60 different films during that 9-year period.
One of the really cool things that you're doing this year in collaboration with Julien's Auctions and Turner Classic Movies is there's going to be a live auction here at the museum Sunday morning. You've got a bunch of props.
Yes.
And things from various movies. The exhibit's called Spotlight Series Harry Potter and Other Heroes. What are some of the things that are on display and are going to be auctioned off on Sunday?
Christian Bale's Batman mask, a Captain America shield, original art by Bob Kane, who created Batman, a lot of different Batman articles, some Superman original art, as well as, what I think is really cool, there are 90 storyboards from X-Men 2. And they're really very cool, and they're in the lower price range and very accessible for most people. And the other thing is we have Ryan Reynolds is giving some of his personal collection away, and he's going to appear via videotape on the auction, and that's another surprise that will occur.
So you don't have to be in San Diego for this auction too, right? People can go online. People can be here live in person and bid, but if you want to go online, there's a registration process, and you can bid against everybody around the world.
Yeah, register at juliensauctions.com, and it's been actually online for about a week, and people are bidding currently. It's pretty amazing.
One of the cool things I saw was the Star Trek phaser, Captain Kirk's phaser from Star Trek, the original Star Trek. Not a replica; it's the real phaser.
The real thing, and that's not going to be auctioned this time. It's going to be auctioned in November, but it is part of our display. The phaser and the communicator, and they have been authenticated that they were part of the series, and they have actually, I don't know where they found them, but they've actually taken them and restored them to the condition that they were in the movie. It's really cool.
So the museum's a really cool building. You got 3 different floors. Your second floor, the main floor, you always have a giant touring exhibition. A couple years ago, you had this amazing Spider-Man Beyond amazing exhibit detailing the whole everything you wanted to see about Spider-Man. Last year there was an animation academy. This year there's something called Popnology. Kind of going through the different technologies that were written about in science fiction and maybe people saw in the movies. And you've got little interactive exhibits and cool things. Share some of the things that people can experience if they come down here to see the Popnology.
And Popnology is leaving August 22nd, so I hope people will come and see it. It actually takes you. We've got a whole section on Back to the Future, including a DeLorean. We also have robots that were created for various movies, robotic games that you can play, and a lot of the history about how these things began and then how they translated into reality today. So you'll see the founders, like the original, the Tesla's automobiles are named after, but then you'll see, what Elon Musk has done with Tesla today and how that is translated. And so it's really very interesting. You can dive into it. You can just play with it. You get different level of experiences and something there for everyone.
So that's one of the big, huge exhibits. One of the things I like is you have big, huge exhibits. You've got smaller exhibits. One of the things that you got here is it's called Collaborations Journey with John Jennings. Who is John Jennings? And tell people kind of some of the things that you got on display of his work.
Yeah. John Jennings is actually a professor at UC Riverside, and he's an expert in Afrofuturism. And he's a collaborator predominantly with all kinds of black comics, black graphic novels, and he worked on the Black Panther movie series. And he is a fascinating and beautiful artist. He does digital media. And so it's pretty different. It's things you probably haven't seen before if you haven't seen John's work. And we're happy to have that here. It's all his original work. Of course, he did it all digitally, so we've remastered it and showed it upstairs. And then the books that he has worked on. So you can actually come into collaborations. He wants to show how he doesn't do anything by himself. He collaborates with others. And that's really how comic books are made and how novels are made, and a lot of movies, of course. Everything is a big collaboration. So he has left some of his artwork that you can color if you want to. You can write a story about it, and then you leave it on our wall, and you can leave it with us, and John's going to incorporate it into a book, or you can take it with you. It's your choice. And we have a reading corner there, so you can sit down and read some of the novels that are there.
That's awesome. One of the other cool art exhibits that you've got is called Border Blitz, Artistas del Comic de Tijuana.
Yes.
What can people see in that exhibit?
So we worked with the Mexican Consulate's office to create this in honor of World Design Center Capital, which San Diego and Tijuana were. This year is a celebration of the first bi-national World Design Center Award. And so we selected with the Mexican Consulate 3 artists from Tijuana, comic artists, and they represent the older version, traditional comic books, the middle version. Tijuana and Mexico are really into mythology. And so this is Dr. Charles Glabett's work. It's fascinating. And then there is a young artist. This is her first exhibit, and she is a self-published author. I'm sure she's going to be famous someday, and her work is very, very different. So all 3 of them have different styles of comic book art, and we have their original works on display here.
You can come see all of these exhibits here at the Comic-Con Museum. Before we wrap up, I know that every year at the actual Comic-Con event, Comic-Con Museum does a panel. You spill the beans on what's coming for the next year. What are we going to hear at this panel?
Okay, so coming in 2024, opening in September 20th, will be Myth of Superheroes. This is a world premiere exhibit that was created by a company in Italy who specializes really in classical exhibits like they have in Europe. And they wanted to do something based on taking what is mythology and how it is translated into perhaps the superheroes of today. So they actually are going to present the stories of like Hercules and how Hercules could be today's Superman, for example. There are Wonder Woman. You know, she could have been she is from the Amazon, sort of, but but Adonis, and how that could have evolved from that. And so it's a combination of mythology, history, education, and fun. So with every one of our exhibits, we try to incorporate all those components. And then at the end of it, they want to know who your superheroes are. And so you kind of learn about it, and you can describe maybe your superhero is your childhood science teacher that got you into the world of science and technology. But I think it's going to be fun. It's very different than what we've had before, and it will be the world premiere.
Awesome. Any other announcements?
The other announcement, in March 15th to 2025, we will be opening the U.S. premiere of something that is well known to many of the fans of Comic-Con and to many others, and that is Doctor Who World of Wonders.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Well, if you want to see these amazing exhibits, you can come down all year round to the Comic-Con Museum. Where are we located? How much does it cost to get in?
So adult ticket price is $25. Children under the age of 6 are free. And 12 euros, and seniors and everybody else are about the same price. 12 euros are $12, and then seniors and military, 18.
And you can buy a membership too if you want to come back all year long.
You not only can buy a membership, but we are selling what is known as Legend memberships. And with a Legend membership, you're actually making a donation to the museum that includes a 4-day pass to Comic-Con. We still have some available for this year's Comic-Con, and you can purchase them online. But the big news is you can buy them for 2025 at our booth in the convention center or at the convention at our museum.
So if you want a guaranteed badge for San Diego Comic-Con 2024 or 2025, make sure you check out that Legend membership. Rita, thanks so much for chatting with us on Cherry the Geek TV, and stay tuned to Cherry the Geek TV for more coverage here at San Diego Comic-Con 2024.